Welcome to Married AF. We are your hosts, Brooke and Randal Fowler. On this show, we discuss the topics that really matter.
Like big veiny cocks and our favorite TV shows.
So pull up a chair at our kitchen table and hang out.
While I bulldog my nuts. Over the phone, just something about being in person. It sounds better. We're able to release this. It's going to be a lot bigger as far as the reach it'll go.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few on,
Yeah, you can pull that all the way to.
I guess, Skype and different video platforms. It's just the quality's never as good.
Oh, absolutely. Now, just to start off, most people are going to know. So you recently became the champ. Now, you've held belts before, right? In regional.
Yeah, so
some
amateur
things,
amateur, yeah, I had some belts. And then in pro, I've been in a few big tournaments and some chances to get in the mix for some belts, and just always a choke artist, man. I'd position myself to get there and then shit the bed every time, you know.
Well, I mean, you can take that all the way back, right? You were on the Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
You were competing to get into the house, right?
Yeah, and that was my first taste of defeat, really, was Kyle Noak literally beating the piss out of me to the point where, I mean, it was just devastating.
That dude's a savage, by the way.
Yeah, he's very good.
Scoot that a little bit closer. I'm watching your levels on here.
Yeah.
Y'all,
better?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, he was a very good fighter, and just he outclassed me on the ground. He just pinned me down and beat the living tar out of me, cut me, 23 stitches, and Dana White's over there like, hey, stop the fight, Mazzagatti. He's gushing. I'm laughing at Dana. I'm like, no, man, I'm taking my whooping. I'm here. He's not going to dull my shine. So.
That picture's iconic.
It's a good picture.
Even people that may not have ever heard of you, I guarantee you they've seen that picture in MMA circles. It's one of the greatest pictures ever. You're literally smiling, loving what looks like should be like painful and deadly, but
right.
That kind of sums you up, though. That's kind of your whole MO, right? As long as I've known you, I've never seen you duck a fight, not take a fight, ever, from anybody.
Right. So that's the difference. And being in the sport for as long as I have, you see guys with a lot of really good records. Many, many times in boxing, there's an A side, a B side. That doesn't exist so much in kickboxing. Mm-hmm. The good ones fight the good ones, and if you want to get with the good ones, you better beat somebody you shouldn't beat to get in that mix.
Yeah,
and that's just how it is. It's it's dog eat dog. Everybody's losing to everybody, and you get on these streaks. And I feel like I'm finally there. I was always looking, and fighters can see it in people. Mm-hmm. I'd be on cards with Israel Adesanya or some of these guys, and I'm watching them, and it's just the aura they put off. You just know they have it, and they can't lose. They just are so confident in their abilities. And I finally, the past couple fights, shit going wrong in my life, my car breaking down, broke, divorce.
Sure.
Doesn't fucking matter. I show up at the fight. I was sick, sick last Friday. And I just knew in my mind, I said, this is mine. I'm winning this. I know. I was telling my coach, I said, I have supreme confidence of what I'm going to get in there and do.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, when it happens, and it's hard to describe it,
Well, I mean, I had that feeling with you going to bare knuckle. Like I was, and I know a lot of people were, but for me, I was super excited about that. So we're kind of take a step back, even though we'll come back to the kickboxing. So you kind of decided, what the fuck, I'll go do bare knuckle.
Yeah.
And you go out and to me, one of the cleanest fights I've ever seen you fight in all of your different genres of fighting. Mm-hmm. Clean-wise, you look like you were on an Art, who I've gotten to know since you fought, who's a funny-ass dude and super cool, tough. But you looked on a different level. You moved differently.
Yeah. The funny thing is about that fight is, here, we'll go ahead and break it down even before then. At 32 years old, I retired from the sport.
This is how we actually met, everybody, because you were dealing with what you thought was a neck injury or something,
right?
Or ALS even, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I had some weird twitching going on, which you, funny enough, had led to me. You had a neck injury, so I was checking that out.
Yep.
I Googled muscle twitching. Worst fucking mistake I ever could have did, because then my whole body's twitching.
Absolutely.
They sent me all these neurologists, and they're like, we can't tell what's going on. You don't have ALS, but we can't tell what's going on. Come to find out, what they think is I had a couple concussions, a TBI, plus a neck injury, a shoulder injury, a back injury, and I was having some facilitations of whatever the hell they call
Vacillations.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've dealt with them, dude. I know exactly when you said that. Because my left tricep still twitches. Like I'll be in the bed and my wife would be like, "What the fuck's going on?" I'm like, I'm asleep. Yeah. It's just my arm. I don't even feel it anymore.
No, my calves and bicep have twitched for 4 years.
Oh,
they
yeah.
never stop.
Yeah.
And so they told me, the doctor's like, well, you probably should get hit in the head anymore. We don't know what's wrong with you, but, and I'd been through a tough time in my life anyways. I attempted fucking suicide.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to circle back to that, too. That's a great story. But not a great story, but a powerful story.
It all factors in. Life is a puzzle. And somebody was asking me just the other day, oh, don't you wish you had this coach or you knew this then? No, I don't, because I want to know what the fuck to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
It all happened at the right time for me. And this bare knuckle fight, me coming out of the retirement and hiring this coach, he didn't even want to work with me. He said, nah, he's like, you can't spell the word fight. You're tough. You come in here and spar my guys. You're tough. You push them. He's like, but you fucking suck, man.
So was there a rumor or whispers out there that like you were punchy, punch drunk, been hit too many times, had 100%. Too many fights?
Cody East said that leading into this lion fight tournament. He's the number 1 seed, came out of the UFC. He's a wife beater. He said, oh, Warren can't hang with me. I'll knock him out. He's got CT also. I took his best shot and I beat him. I took out the number 1 seed. And I told him right then, I said, man, you pissed me off by speaking words you don't even know about.
Sure.
It was my fight style. That's why Glory kept bringing me back. I was losing, but I would just come straight forward, take their best shots, doubling their power. And my coach said it this time. He said, as soon as I watched the tape on you, he said, I'd work with this guy. He said, he's not punchy. He takes hard shots because he walks on the shots.
Oh, yeah.
He's letting them hit him hard.
Yeah.
And we've changed that. And you see.
Big time. It's so weird. It's not, I guess it is kind of weird to look at the style you fought like 10 years ago and then watch you now, how much more you move. You're bigger now, but you were cutting weight. You used to fight 185, right?
Yeah,
that was
185 and 205.
That was your class. I mean, I've seen some pictures of you. You look like you had cancer.
Yeah,
so skinny, cutting weight. Yeah. So now you're bigger, but you move. It looks better than you moved when you were littler. If that makes any sense, which is weird. It's usually the other way around. But your movement's what sets you apart in heavyweight to me. Because they can't fucking move with you.
No, none of them can. And Coach told me that. He's like, they start calling me White Lightning in camp. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you guys your size do not move like you do. And that's what Art, and then this last guy said, man, we had no idea about watching tape you could move like you can. Mm-hmm. And Art, Lorenzo Hunt, who's the champion bare knuckle at 185, he said, you took out the guy who I thought was going to be a problem for these heavyweights. Mm-hmm. He's like, you can move really well. And the thing is with bare knuckle, and it's going to be interesting, is they like sluggers to stand there and kill each other. I think I bring a different aspect in an audience by being able to box and move.
Agreed.
It's going to be interesting.
Agreed. I don't think they might talk like they want it. But I bet most of the guys in there don't want you. Right. They don't want to fight you. Not in bare knuckle.
I agree.
100% because you can just sit there and piece them up.
Yeah, I can beat them with my jab and my footwork. I supremely think that.
When you hit Art, and he, of course, has a very powerful champ, or he did. He shaved it, which hurt me. Beard. You hit him in the side of the head and ear at one point in that fight, and I thought his head was going to fall off, and he still stayed up.
There was blood shooting out from the ear past his shoulder, and I'm hitting him again, and he didn't fall down.
What does that feel like inside when you hit somebody with everything you got clean and they don't move? Is that like, motherfucker, what a tough... Is that like a respect builder instantly? You're like, when I win, that's a tough son of a bitch.
100%. He earned my respect. He was already a nice guy, respectful beforehand, but he earned my respect.
Funny as shit, too.
Yeah. And the thing is, in the 5th round, I knew it was up, and I knew I gave him all I had and couldn't finish him in the 4th. So I went back to skill and jabbing and playing safe. And some people jumped on my ass like, "Oh, you didn't try to finish in the 5th." I tried to finish in the 4th and couldn't get him out of there. I wasn't going to make a mistake because I've lost fights in the past
and walk into something.
I walked into something. Happened to me in Glory. I was beating the guy, tar out of the guy. 28 seconds left. He catches me because I was cocky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that can happen. But big boys, man, he doesn't have to be skillful. Just a big enough boy catches you with one.
And Art hits hard. He hit me one time. One knuckle cut me 3 times. One punch. He hits very hard.
Yeah, that was funny because I think I remember that on watching the telecast because you were like talking to your corner. I think you said like it burns or something. Yeah. That was the only thing that it wasn't too bad. But his damn ear, man, what a stud to stay upright and just walk through that and still be alive, especially with bare knuckles. Now, when's the I assume it had been a while probably since you had like an official like street fight where you would be bare knuckle.
Yeah.
How'd the hands hold up?
Everything's fine minus my wrist right here. Something happened to that guy sticking out there a little bit. But as far as the knuckles, a little bit of soreness in the knuckles that swelled up on me for a couple of days.
Yeah.
It was fine. But overall, I was worried about that going in.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is.
Oh, yeah.
But if you place your shots correctly and don't just wing it to the top of the head, your chances of breaking them. And you can honestly take a little off shots. And
that's what I was going to ask you. Do you train like to dial down, like in bare knuckle, I'm going to go 70? Like, you don't throw the...
Yeah, I just be select. Like when I hit him with that right hand, I'd set it up 2 or 3 times already, that mid-range shot.
Yeah.
So I knew where it was going to hit, the range and stuff like that. Because a couple times I missed and hit his beard early in the fight.
Yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't get the range quite right. Because without a glove, you're about 2 inches short.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So finally I figured out the range there with the jab. And I knew it was going to land, so I threw it hard.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that flurry, you can tell I've started to back some of them off because I did hurt my hands on his head. And I started to kind of... The right hands were a little different.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go to the body. Yeah. So for sure, if you hit wrong, you feel it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you definitely have to, it's controlled chaos. You're not in there street fighting. There's some guys that do it in there. They break their hand. They look like shit in there. And they're just 2 and 10 MMA guys in there brawling and beating the fuck out of each other.
Yeah, a lot of them look like, because I did one back in Florence, Alabama in college, and a bunch of guys I lived with. Some of them go in there and it looks like a tough man.
Yeah.
Like just some guys that jumped in and they'll start going crazy. It's rare now, especially as bare knuckles gotten bigger. So much good athletes coming from other promotions. So everything's really clean. And
it's getting better.
Every time it gets better and better. Yeah. The quality of these guys is as good as you can get. I mean, shit, there's a bunch of guys that have been in Bellator, UFC, everywhere coming over.
Alan Belcher looks really good. Redneck Mundell, Dave Mundell, I believe it's Dave. He actually impressed me. Couple of guys there, on that card, 2 or 3 guys. I was like, okay, they can box a little bit. But then there's also you still got some of the guys that are just big tanks, crawlers. And it is what it is. They're landing, they're knocking them out. No. Hey, you're making money doing it.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
So I want to go back to something you said. So you talked about Adesanya, style bender.
Yeah.
Seeing him and other guys you've seen that you're just like, whoa, that they've got it. I don't know. Do you still follow MMA? Are you a big fan? Do you watch the UFCs and Bellators or
a little here and there? Like if one of my friends or a guy I know is fighting, or somebody that interests me. If Pereira or Dustin Jacoby or Adesanya.
What a beast Pereira is. That might be
those guys. I'll check out.
A different world.
Yeah, because they were all in Glory when I was there, same weight class. So I follow those guys a bit.
He's destroying people.
Yeah. Oh,
people don't want to. I've heard multiple people said when he hits you, it's different than anyone else.
And the thing that's Rogan talked about that it just being different. But the thing is he's turning his whole body when he throws the left hook. It looks like a check hook, but his hips are turned, his foot's already turned. His setups are just unlike anybody that does it, and it doesn't even look like he throws it hard. And guys are asleep.
I know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, going back to it, so you fought MMA for a long time. So you've trained jiu-jitsu. You talked about your injuries, right? Like you're 36, right?
Yeah.
36. I would say you're older than that with injuries just because you've fought forever.
Yeah.
Can you still grapple? Do you just choose not to? Or are you trying to save yourself from more injuries? Because to me, grappling almost it's super fun, and I did it for a long time too. But it hurts, especially if you got neck you just can't risk it.
I can't turn this way right now without pain. Like I have my neck, back all the time, shoulders. I can't do that. I have torn rotator cuff. I can't. Like,
it's incredible,
bro. I tried to grapple a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, and I can hold my own. But me holding my own because of my experience and fight experience, I'm exerting a lot of energy and muscle, and I'm sore as shit the next day. I pop my knee doing it. It's like all the time. It is not – people say it's the gentle art. It is if you're rolling lightly with people, with friends. If you're a competitor like I am and big, I mean, I'm not letting anybody tap me easily.
Yeah, of course.
And these guys are big, strong. You're tearing things. And I just – at this point in my career, without me not doing MMA, I don't love it. I love the strike. Why do it?
Yeah. But you've actually been in there – you've been in there with a lot of people that a lot of people probably know, and they wouldn't know that you've actually, either sparred with them, trained with them, been hit by them. Mm-hmm. One of my heroes, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Brian Stan. I know you know him well, and you've trained with him.
Good guy.
Tell a little bit, is he as awesome as I think he is? Is he the G.I. Joe man, should be president like I think he should be? Is he as good looking as he looks? And does he hit as hard as I think he does?
He does pretty much all that is Brian. So the thing is that he taught me a whole lot is, and I'm good to this day with it. I took over kind of when he stopped training is I can coordinate a room. Mm-hmm. I may not be the best in that room, but we can get all the guys together to spar, and it's coordinated, it's scheduled, it's on time. What the hell is happening each round? We're doing it. Brian was the best at that. And I just kind of watched and learned and, emulated that past when he left. And also, he hits that damn hard. When he used to always say, when the UFC Unleashed cameras are here, me and Warren are going to be fighting. And we would. I would make him work for it. And he's the only person to this day ever in fights or in training to drop me with a body shot, liver kick. And he was chasing me. He was chasing me. I got hit and I was trying to avoid dropping. And he chased me down and hit me with the same one I dropped. To this day, ever. Only person ever dropped me to a body shot.
How'd that feel?
I was about to puke shit.
Everything?
I was. Yeah, I didn't know what was happening for about a minute.
Dude, when he fought Vanderlei in the UFC, I think it was that for one of those fight for the troop things, which, makes sense that he's so good at coordinating a room with him being, a naval officer. He played football at the Naval Academy. I know that. And then I think he was a Marine. Yep. And his business now that he does is to help veterans get jobs. I mean, is there a blemish on the guy? I've never seen anything that could even look like a blemish.
The thing is with him too, is I've been in this sport so long. Many men they're delinquents. If that makes any sense at all, they're good fighters. They're not good friends. They're not good husbands. They're not good men. Brian is good at anything. He's just a stand-up guy. What you see is what you get with him. He's going to tell you how it is. He's going to do you right and do it the right way. That's just him. There is not a man I respect more in the sport that helped me along the way than Brian, to be honest with you.
Does he still train any? Do you know?
We trained a couple years ago together at Manu's, just stopped in, and I haven't trained with him since. When the last I spoke to Brian was on Instagram probably a couple weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, just chit-chatting on there. But we don't train much anymore,
So in total, in all your different genres, do you have any idea how many fights you have?
Right at 40.
40?
Yeah.
And that's and when you fought amateur here, did you started here in Georgia?
Yeah, so I had a pretty quick amateur career. I only did 5. So when I was doing it, I was getting paid for fighting amateur too. Not a lot, but the promoters would throw me a few $100. Yeah. And then I won that WK title, and really right away I turned pro. Back then there wasn't as much of a reason. If I was going to do the striking avenue the way I chose, I did it the hard way. Because I would have stayed amateur much longer. I went MMA. Yeah. If I was knew what was going to happen, hindsight being 20/20, and was going to do kickboxing, Muay Thai, stuff like that, and turn into that, I would have did 50 fights in Muay Thai and kickboxing and got my experience then. I did it the hard way and was facing top tier guys in glory with no fucking kickboxing or Muay Thai experience per se compared to them. They're having 80 or 100 fights. Yeah. And here I am with a couple in an MMA background. Yeah. So it took me up until now, the learning curve was so steep, up until now to feel comfortable in there. Now the past couple of years, I can strike with any of these guys. I was in there before I should have been because I beat a guy or two that I shouldn't have. Sure. Just off balls,
that tends to happen. Yeah. John Little, the mayor, had a question asking, what do you think about Bukal being in Bare Knuckle FC?
Yeah, I just saw that. They're signing a lot of guys. Bukal's exciting. I don't know how he'll do, in Bare Knuckle with he's a great kicker. He's powerful. He's exciting. But I don't really have an opinion on it because until they get in there, it's his guess as good as mine.
Now, I did tell John Little, for full disclosure, before your Bare Knuckle fight, I think I was like, man, I'd bet somebody a few dollars that it's so ingrained in you, in your combinations to throw leg kicks in close quarters. Like, they're almost automatic, right? Like, when I see you work in a bag, they'll come out. I mean, and you've just been doing it so long, I'm sure it's second nature. How hard is it to not do that?
It was not as difficult as I thought it'd be because I totally ingrained myself in my coach's style, and he's a boxing coach, and we're moving and boxing first.
Yeah.
The kicks are all secondary now, which is incredible. I won a Muay Thai North American heavyweight title, and I didn't even kick so much. I kicked some, and when I did kick, it mattered. But most of my game plan was based off my boxing and my movement. And we had some elbows in there, and I used the weapons to complement it. You know.
By the way, I've got to tell you this from my mom. I don't know if you saw that. We might be related.
Probably.
Thompson in South Carolina, my family line runs through
really?
Thompson. Yeah, my mom's side.
Yeah. Huh.
So when when I put the thing out that we were going to do a show, my mom was like, "You might be related." I was like, his family's in South Carolina.
That's why we're this damn good looking.
Because all my family's from right outside of Spartanburg, Cowpens, a little town up north of Spartanburg.
I mean, we were originally, most of my family originally from Bluefield, Virginia.
Sure, we got a ton in Virginia.
Yeah,
I did my mom's whole family thing for her birthday once.
About 30 years ago, and that's where we've been at.
Yeah, who knows? Champions tend to do that shit, bro. It is what it is.
Runs in the bloodlines.
Yeah, so you're talking about guys with a million fights, right? Do you know who Jeremy Horn is?
I do. Yep.
So he has 1.8 billion fights. Really, he's got like 100 and something pro MMA fights. I remember when I was coming up. He was in the UFC. He's always been a stud, but I mean, he has fought millions, and now he's a coach and all that. But a lot of people forget about guys like him. But those were pioneers, man. I mean, they fought every other week.
Yeah. So we were Rob Morrow. His nickname's the Destroyer too. I highly respect him, but he's going on, I think, 102 fights or something right now, still fighting. And Kevin Brooks, here locally, I have 2 wins over Kevin. It's probably the best local guy I've ever beat. And he, I think, ended up having 100-some fights. You know, I mean, back in the day, the preparations weren't as long. It's just like even pro boxing now. So they, on Joe Rogan, they were talking to a guy, and he had, I forget who the hell he was talking to, but they were talking back in the day, comparing these fighters now to then. Fighters back then, they're fighting, every 2-3 weeks. So some of those guys had 100 fights in their careers. Right. Now it's fairly uncommon,
Do you think anybody's going to unseat Stylebender in his class? I know he went up and took an L, but
the only guy I foresee doing it is Pereira because we go back to the mental aspect of it.
He beat him in kickboxing, right?
Pereira won kickboxing, I think twice. Didn't he?
Yeah, I think twice.
Here's the thing, though. MMA is different, and it's also been many years. What I was talking about, that mental aspect, fighting's all matchups, and it's 90% mental, right? Sure. Especially at that level. If Stylebender has a chink in his confidence, it would be against Pereira.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Understandably, if the guy's had your number twice, that's got to be a tough little thing to go over.
If he fights him long, feints him, fights him long, he's got to. I think he can outpoint him anyways. He's got just such good movement. Stylebender does, but he would have to be very selective, very smart,
So what's your type of guy? Because you've done both, obviously, both styles of fighting. You're in your second or third career that you're in now. You talk about, your movement's better. You're not running into shots.
Yeah.
But which do you prefer to watch? If you're watching, do you like to see these guys coming forward and banging, or do you actually like to see the sweet science and the?
Used to be coming forward and banging, and I'd make fun of guys that were doing the sweet science. To be honest, with you,
sure.
Now, as I age and I've gotten a better eye for it, more educated to the sport, I like both.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a Robbie Lawler go in there and beat the hell out of whoever he's fighting. But also, it's good sometimes watching Israel Adesanya fight that some people can boo and think slow. And it's like, wow, look at the traps he's setting. The guy's not taking.
Yeah.
Sometimes these guys he's fighting, it's not exciting because they're not wanting to walk into those traps he's setting.
Oh, yeah, they won't engage. Right. A lot of guys won't engage Stylebender.
So there's some of both at play for that for me.
Yeah.
I can respect both. It just depends on the night, depends on the fight.
Yeah. So was there a guy when you were coming up that was your guy, your favorite like MMA fighter? Mine was Evan Tanner, if you know if you remember him.
Yeah.
He died in the desert.
Right. I liked Kevin Randleman a lot.
Beast.
Yep.
Beast.
I liked him a whole lot.
Worst staph infection I've ever seen.
I know.
Dude, that guy's
my tiger eyes on my back that I got, he had lion eyes on his back. I don't know if you remember. That was what inspired that when I was 18. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So he was one of my favorites coming up. And then I liked Tank Abbott just because he was the brawler type.
Oh, yeah. Have a beer with him.
Chuck Liddell and Tito, those guys. Tito was such a nice person to me. I'm sitting there getting stitched up and in the back, and 23-year-old kid, his dreams crushed. Yeah. And everybody had left. It's a Sunday night. We're at the UFC center where the Ultimate Fighter is, and I'm there by myself. And Tito hung out. He stayed. And one of the doctor, the plastic surgeon, was coming from church, so it took time. And we were waiting back there for a while, and he's just talked to me. He's laughing. He's like, man, you can take some shots. You got cut up pretty good. He's like, don't worry about it. Just basic general talk. Yeah. Hung out with me for a while. And I haven't talked to him since, but that meant a lot to me.
Sure.
And some people will trash talk him about him being this or that. But in person, that is one of the nicest fighters I've ever met. Just to take time out of his night, a Sunday night, to sit down with a kid that literally was crushed. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah. A lot of people say that about Colby Covington. That he's similar, that people think he's a douchebag. Colby, right? The chaos, the
never
trumper
met him,
guy.
But heard a lot about
but they say that his real personality is the most respectful. That's just kind of like his gimmick.
Yeah.
The chaos character, because he was about to be cut from the UFC.
Right.
And they were about to cut him, even though he was good. He just didn't bring eyeballs to the fucking to his fights.
And that's the thing in this day and age is you never know. Some people, a lot of these kids these days are trying to, I just made a Facebook post about it, trying to fight at weigh-ins and this, that, and the other. They saw Connor, or really we could say Colby too, get rich off kind of being a prick, and everybody wants to do it. Is that necessarily the right thing to do? In my opinion, no, but they've seen it done and how much money it made somebody, so they're willing to try something outrageous to do it.
God, man, unless you do it exactly right, though, it'll always backfire
just
on
get
you.
hurt.
Just the few that are really good at it.
Right.
The Connor, Colby's really good at it.
Right. 1 out of 100 just somehow hit it right, and they play that heel well and turn into a hero with it.
Yeah, because for that, everyone knows. You got the Brian Stans, who was always respectful. Everybody he fought, he did fine.
Yeah.
Shit. I saw him in an interview the other day. He looks like he could still go. Yeah. He looks as young as ever. Still looks in shape. I know he's obviously got other things going on, but I've heard him say that he wants to get back into commentating and analyzing for MMA. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes up. But so you're at Bear Knuckle Up is where you train out of.
Up, yeah.
Have you done any time in all the big Atlanta gyms like American Top Team, and have you been through all those, or have you always just been Knuckle Up?
So I started training at Knuckle Up in 2004 or very beginning of 2005. It was the very first place I started training.
Yeah.
Somebody worked there and they're like, hey, you would be good at this. Come try it. And I went down there and got my ass kicked. And I was like, I like this. And it was something to do out of high school. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. So I started training and I loved it and fell in love with it. But I've a part owner of my own gym at Iron Clutch Fitness for a few years. I was helped run it. I was a profit owner there.
Yeah.
I worked for Unit 2 when Roberto Travin was downtown. Worked with him, was their striking coach. Then went back to Knuckle Up. But I've trained with Kumpan at Bangkok Boxing for many years. Trained with Jucal and all those guys at ATT with Brian. The Limas, we came up at Knuckle Up together.
Dude, the Limas are beasts.
They're beasts, and they're great. Both great men. I say nothing but good things about both of them. But so I've been a little everywhere. Amir over at Gwinnett Training Academy, I've trained with him a good bit. He's a good friend. So it's funny. It's a small world here in the Atlanta martial arts scene. When at the upper levels, everybody knows everybody. Yeah, they're all good guys. Yeah.
So all right. So I want to circle back now and kind of get to some backstory. So we're kind of done all the the current talk. So you grew up. Most of your life was in South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Your childhood and everything. You're big into hunting and all the shit. You live. During deer season, no one sees you. You're like at the gym or in the woods. Yeah. That's all I've ever seen. But you were a chubby kid, right? You were kind of an overweight kid.
I wasn't just that. I was a fat pussy, man. I was scared to get hit, scared to get the ball, scared to do anything,
So how did that convert to fighting? Just out of...
My father, and it's funny you asked this. So my father would take me to these practices and games and watch me ride the bench and be last running. And he only asked for effort. He'd yell at me only when he was like, one day you'd be up front in the laps, the next day you're walking. He's like, what? You know, he never missed a practice until high school.
Yeah.
Never.
Nice.
And went to high school, we started practicing during the day. Our fourth block, so we had practice at 1:30 during the school day.
Were you still fat in high school?
No. So about 16-ish, it hit me. 15, 16-ish, it hit me. I don't want to be fat anymore. I'm starting, my work ethic's coming.
Sure.
I started to get it. But it was a little too late in the sports aspects of high school because you have your fucking pecking order. Like, I mean, I played a little, but it was hard to get past some of the good old boy shit.
Yep.
But as soon as I graduated, I was like thinking maybe military and then I found the fighting stuff. Mm-hmm. And my work ethic was just beyond anybody else's in the fighting stuff. Like, I'm able to take adversity well, and when the pressure's high, I can lose. And it's like most people be like, oh, damn, this wasn't for me. I'll go get a job. Mm-hmm. And I probably should have about 10 fucking times. And I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm still training. I'm going back to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was just resilient.
Yeah.
And if anything that I made my dad that I have now that I didn't have then is just I'm not a pussy. I'm very resilient.
Sure.
Like, you can beat me. I'll be right back tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? And that's kind of just my childhood led into who I am now. I just don't want to be a victim anymore, ever.
But so nobody's really, or no one that I know, maybe you might be different, but the first time I went into a gym and I started training at Team Sturgis in Huntsville, Alabama. And I remember the first day I went in, John Sturgis, he put me in with one of the guys that had been fighting at a lot of local shows. His name is Lance White. He's a great dude. He ended up winning a bunch of like regional MMA titles, and he's a beast and fought until he's like 42. And so I square up with him. I don't know anything about how to really spar yet, you know, like I'm just doing it to be in shape, and I think I'm like a tough guy. And so he's like, all right, you guys go at like 50%. I don't know what that means, right? So I'm like, I guess that means I just tap him. So I just barely tap him. And I thought I was barely tapping him. Obviously, I went past 50. So Lance looked at me, and it didn't hurt him, but he's like, bitch, you're fucking with the wrong one. You went over 50.
You're going 60.
Now I've got to go 70. And he hit me, and I never saw it. And I mean, I literally... And people want to be tough and they'll lie, but man, I like to get hit. Dude, I got hit and I was like, hang on. I was wanting to call a time. I was like, hang on. Because literally, I never saw the shot. It hit me like a little check hook in the eye. I was like, what is hang on. You know, you have to see shots. Like, it takes time to get where you don't shit in your pants, right? Like, it's scary when you first start it, right?
Even if you take time off, that shit's scary again. Your body, nobody wants to get hit, right? Like, I could take a month or two off and start back sparring, and you'll see me a little gun shy. It's just you get desensitized to it to an extent, you know. I mean, but nobody likes. So
you've coached a lot of people, and I know you train people. Have you ever met or seen a person that literally the first time they've ever done it, and you start in their head, they just love. They're hit me all you want. They stay because I was, over-moving.
The only person that I know that I feel like I just think likes to get hit is Joe Elmore. Like,
Joe.
And since I've known him, and he was already training when I met him in 2010-ish, but 9-ish, but since I've known him, he's been like that. Like, he just doesn't give a shit.
He's a savage.
He's a savage. He's one of the, and people say that about me. Oh, you don't mind getting hit, you walk forward. I still mind it. I'm resilient. Like, Joe literally, like, I'm pretty sure he likes that shit. Like, I mean, like, he's one of the few, like, that I literally can just say out of anybody I've ever met, one of the few.
Dude, I don't know how his last fight, how he lost the fight.
Yeah.
It was such a good, it was a draw to me. Yeah. I've never seen a more clear draw.
Right.
At worst case, a draw.
Yeah, great fight. I mean, Joe is going to be in the mix with anybody. He's unorthodox. He's tough. He's athletic. He's fast. You're not going to look at Joe and be like, oh, prototypically he's doing this right or that right. You're going to look at it on tape and be like, oh, he's doing all this wrong. But when you get in there with him, he hits hard. He's hard to hit. Mm-hmm. And when you do hit him, it doesn't bother him.
He's got like that Diaz, though, scar tissue on his face. Like he cuts if you just – but he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't give a shit.
That doesn't seem to ever – I've never seen a cut bother him. But, man, that guy shit. Because the Diaz brothers are also my guy. I love Nick. Nick was my guy coming up, too. And I remember he literally had that – isn't there like a surgery where they had to shave his brow down because it was always sharp, you know, and it was catching and cutting his eyes all the time?
That surprised me, yeah.
Dude, that shit is insane. But
Yeah,
So
Joe's he's a stud, man. This bare knuckle stuff fits him because he fights a style that they like too, very bloody, very brawl, but he does it well.
he's about to fight again, right?
Yeah, in England, I believe that card got moved to August 20th.
Yeah.
Wembley Arena maybe, or O2, something like this. Yeah, but
That's
big
gonna be
card.
huge.
I think MVP, the headliner is MVP, the Venom Page guy, versus Platinum, Mike Perry. So Mike's another guy that's tough as shit like that.
Yeah.
Great, nice guy.
Yeah.
But super tough guy. So that's gonna be interesting too, because MVP can kind of box, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, he's known for his like highlight finishes. Knockouts are just stupid.
Yeah.
Controller, like PlayStation game finishes.
Right.
But speaking of Mike Perry, the worst broken nose I've ever seen in a fight. Like his last UFC fight, his nose was literally over on the side of his face.
Cheek.
Oh my God. And we've talked because I've had my nose rebuilt.
Yep.
You need yours rebuilt, but it'll be a waste to do it before you retire. Like literally.
Mine kind of got in Thailand. Mine was touching my nose. They used a pin, took it apart.
Oh yeah.
And they shoved one side in there. And
they'll literally pop it back over.
They got me good with. I can breathe in one side. Yeah.
Good enough. Whatever.
I'm not total mouth breather.
Yeah. So do you have to use a CPAP?
So, man, you're gonna piss me off talking about this.
Because I did. They had to put me on because my nose until I got it fixed.
So I haven't yet, but then, all right, my coach and everybody keeps telling me to get one. So I get on Facebook about a month ago. And I'm like trying to get a used one. Mm-hmm. Well, it's this guy who I've known my whole life hits me up. I got one. I'll send it to you. Zelle me. So I Zelle him the money. He ain't sent me this damn CPAP yet.
Dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah. So, and currently I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I may have to drive my ass to South Carolina to either collect some money or CPAP soon.
Well, if he doesn't do you solid, we're boys. Yeah. I'm about to be upgrading mine. I'll slide you mine. My old one. It works great.
Yeah.
I'm about to upgrade though, and you're welcome to it. Because it'll change your life.
See, that's the thing. That's what Coach was telling me. Coach has one, and I
feel like a new man.
It's just frustrating that the thing is, I should have listened to my gut instinct. I'm not a rich man anyways.
Sure.
But when a friend tells me, hey, man, I got you. Zelle me this money. I don't mess with Zelle much. I have no idea there's no purchase protection with Zelle.
Sure.
I'm like, he's an old friend. He won't fuck me. And then here we are a month later, and he's coming up with every excuse of why he hadn't sent it. Can't meet my mom with all this shit. It's like, I would never do a person like that.
Sure,
so when somebody does me like that, it pisses me off.
God, that's so fucked up. Yeah. I can't even.
You can't trust people this day and age, but I should have trusted my gut because my gut was like, why would they want you to Zelle it? Like, who doesn't have Cash App or Venmo this day and age? PayPal.
Yeah, dude. So they put me on one, I think it was like 4 years ago before I had my nose fixed. And they were like, once you get your nose fixed, you can come off of it. I got my nose fixed, which was the worst surgery ever. Such a horrible recovery. And by then, the thing is like my pacifier. I'm like, dude, I'm not going off of it.
I hear that just your sleep is so much better. Your blood pressure comes down.
Oh, way down.
See, my blood pressure runs borderline now because my red blood cell count gets up because partially they think that I'm not breathing good in my sleep.
You definitely aren't. I guarantee you're not.
Yeah.
Just because of your nose. Yeah. If you're having one side, dude, and it probably sounds like my wife would tell me like I sounded like I was literally being choked out when I slept. And she would to the point it would gross her out. She recorded it one night and played it back, and it sounds like I'm being murdered. It's a deep gargle, so my sleep was never good. So your sleep was probably never good.
No, and I kept biting, especially if I get heavier than 240, I keep biting my tongue. And they say that's another thing. Your tongue says back, you do it and you bite it.
Yep.
But my side of my tongue was raw. I was biting it so many times. Yeah. And if you look up into that, that's one thing you do when you have sleep apnea.
Yeah. Dude, 100%. All of those are the exact same symptoms that I was having.
And acid reflux.
And it's funny, everybody's got their Mendoza line. Mine's 250. If I have 251, I know my sleep will suffer, like my breathing and everything. It just feels, that's like my wheelhouse. If I get up over that.
I don't even lift weights anymore, and I'm about 232, 233, but if I get over like anywhere close to 240, I start to feel like shit.
Well, so everybody says, though, that's like the new wheelhouse for heavyweights. That 230, 240, Stipe, the hybrid, Kane.
Yep, because you can move. I do push-ups, pull-ups, like some Herschel Walker shit every day. Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, all that every day, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And then just train, you know? And it makes me feel great.
Oh, dude, I've sat in the sauna with you during our champion sauna sessions. and you work out while we're in the sauna.
Yeah.
You're walking around, stretching, doing sit-ups or something. And the other day we went, and I had my timer going when you walked in, and when I finally bitched out, I was at like 36 minutes. Mm-hmm. You do some crazy-ass times in the sauna. Like, it's almost unhuman because I'm good. Because I take it as a test. When people come in, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but I have a personal
I think I've heard
competition
you talk about it once,
thing. Yeah. If someone comes in and it's before my 10-minute mark, mm-hmm. I will not leave before them. I will outlast them. Now, if they come in after 10, then I'm like, bitch, you don't count.
Right.
But if they come in 0 to 10, I'm gonna
try to set it.
I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I'm not the only one that does this. I can feel it from some guys.
Yeah.
Where we're battling and we're not saying anything.
Right.
We both start twitching. We both start fucking with our shit and stretching. Like, I know all the signs, right? You can hang in there for over 40 minutes, right?
Yeah. I did the most I did last fight camp for the bare knuckle one because I was doing it a lot. I picked little shit to test myself each fight. An hour and 6 minutes, I believe I made it. And I was working out that time in there too. I wasn't, but I do. Do you sip water while you're in there or no fluids?
Oh, no, I have no fluids and I have a chew in.
So I do take a water in there with me. If I didn't do that, there's no way I'm doing it over an hour.
Dude, and it's called the Randy Challenge. I put the biggest hog I have.
It's gonna be terrible.
No spitter.
What do you do? Swallow that shit?
You got to hold it, swallow it or something.
Oh.
So
I'd puke.
Oh, I know. But I got that from Brian Spillman. I think, Spillman. He was a linebacker for the Detroit Lions, and he talked about that was his challenge. He'd put a big old chew in and sit in the sauna.
So if you're thinking, honestly, so if I'm without fluids, I've never done more than 40, 45 minutes. Yeah. If I've went there without water before. You're not making it above an hour. And working out, you're not making it that far working out.
Oh, you'll probably pass out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, because I would get dizzy even with the fluids and end up laying in the bottom of the floor sometimes for a few minutes because I was dizzy.
Oh, yeah. I've done that when I was doing the Fat Randy Challenge a couple years back on the podcast. I did this thing where our listeners were like, there's no way you can lose, like that Randy couldn't lose 15 pounds in 30 days. I was like, you don't understand water weight. So I lost it in 3 days.
Yeah.
Now it's water weight.
Yeah.
And I sat in the sauna, worked out like normal, and sat in the sauna like twice a day.
Cut back your carbs, lose that glycogen, boom, done.
Didn't drink beer for 3 days. And, dude, I lost, it was like 17.2 in 3 days. And so many people were like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, I mean, it's not good for you, probably.
But 36 in 6 days is my best. Yeah.
God, dog.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, you don't really struggle with weight cuts, right?
I could make 185 still, but I'd have to lose muscle. But I can make 205, and I fought Steve Walker that shortened 9 days, 236, and I weighed in at 205 within 9 days with him, and it was fine.
Yeah, so there's one YouTube video, one kickboxing fight that people have seen a lot of where you were knocked out with a short. It was like a short right. I've watched it a million times. It's crazy because it almost looks like it didn't even hit you. But how did that feel? Did you even feel it? What was that like?
So that fight has brought me the most grief. And the announcer was just getting to the part of explaining. He's like, Warren Thompson taking this fight on 24 hours notice, and then bam. So, okay, the week before the fight, I had hurt myself a month prior and won a fight, but I tore the sagittal band in my knuckles. So basically, these ligaments in these knuckles, they roll over to the side. There's supposed to be a band that holds them on. Mm-hmm. So I have no power to open my fist if there's anything on it. So I can't open it right here. If it's in a glove, can't open it. But I can close it. So I can make a fist fine. So I'm not doing the surgery until later on because I can use the hand unless there's anything. So anyways, I'm out of the fight. So it felt like somebody bit me. It's very, very sharp to touch anything with these knuckles for about 2 years.
Damn.
So I wasn't training. They called me and said, hey, we need an alternate. The alternate backed out on this 4-man tournament. It's a qualifier for the Glory Belt. We're going to pay you a couple $1,000. Come watch the fight. Yeah. So I was like, but I'm hurt. I'm not trying to say we've never used an alternate. It's Glory 30-something. Never used an alternate. Come on.
Sure.
So, okay, we just need a body. So I get up there. They give me some money to go party, eat, all this stuff. They go, you on weight? I said, yeah, I haven't been training. I'm under the weight. I'm 207. I don't need 208. I was like, plus I don't even have to make the weight as the alternate, I don't think. So I'm out there drinking beer, fucking partying. We have pitchers of beer. And we're partying with this chick with a mustache that's the waitress. Fucking hell of a mustache. Anyway, that's hilarious. Me and Brett. So we get back to the hotel the next morning. We wake up. I'm dehydrated as shit because I was drunk the day before on the beach.
Yeah, which is a terrible. That dehydration is what murders people the next day drunk.
So we get a call. They buzz us to our room. They say, hey, Manny Mancha, who ended up fighting, I think later before something like that, he's missed weight going to miss by 9 pounds. Can you fight? What's your weight? So I go get on the scale. I was like a pound over, just bloated.
Yeah.
And I said, fuck. So I have to run dehydrated and been drinking that morning to make the weight. I make the weight. We go eat, hydrate, do all this stuff. Call my buddy Wayne Barrett, who fights for Glory. He drives into town. We got to fight the next day. Meanwhile, I haven't wrapped my hand or hit nothing with that hand for a month.
Yeah.
We put it in a bucket of ice in the back room for 20 minutes. I take it out, we wrap it tight, put the glove on, warm up real quick. We go out to fight. I said, I got one good round in me. I got to put him down.
Yeah.
It's a tournament anyway. There's 2 fights that night.
Yeah.
I say, I just got to go after him. Stupidly, I walk into a power puncher. He's got like 56 KOs, had like 80 fights.
Yeah.
And I walk right into the power punch. And it just clipped me on the jaw, but I'm so dehydrated. I was asleep.
You can't take a good shot if you're dehydrated.
Sleep.
Yeah.
I took the same shot on an inside kick this last fight.
Yeah.
Didn't even faze me.
Yeah.
And it was harder.
So when you do get clipped like that, though, it's not, you don't feel it. You don't think anything.
No, I didn't even wake up till I was back in the back, and he's sitting in my dressing room. I said, what the hell is he doing in here? He said, y'all already fought. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So you fought in Japan before, right?
China.
China
and Thailand. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you compare the crowds in those different countries and here?
China's amazing. They treated me so good. Thailand was the same way, treated me so good. Here, it's very odd. They like the MMA okay, but there's only a few cities that are even into the striking stuff. Bare knuckle seems to be coming up, and that was a good crowd in Florida.
Yeah.
And it had a good mix. There were some good boxing fans there that knew what the fuck they were looking at.
Yeah.
And there was some, just the end of that bare knuckle brawling, some guys into that. But as far as Muay Thai and kickboxing, it's hard because nobody, and it's weird they don't want to see it, but only in maybe New York, Boston, some places in California, is there even any fan base for Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make money at it. It's crazy.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's talked about his frustration with that so many times because, he's a huge kickboxing fan, Muay Thai fan. So is it true, like in Muay Thai, especially over there in Thailand, that those guys will, like, gentleman's agreement in the first round where you're not going to try to kill each other? Is that a real thing I've heard of?
So I've heard a couple different things. To my knowledge, it's a couple things at play. There's still betting going on in the first round, getting that all fixed up.
Which is huge over there.
Huge.
I mean, cash everywhere. Secondly,
a lot of these guys, if they're smart enough, the first round's about establishing what you want to do and seeing his tendencies. Mm-hmm. So if you notice, they're not kicking super hard at first because they don't want to get checked super hard.
Yeah, you're feeling each other out and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't see the Thais breaking their legs as much on each other because, 1, they don't naked kick. 2, they don't haul ass out there in the first round and just kick as hard as they can. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if the guy checks it, you break your leg.
Yeah.
So I think there's a couple things at play there. But I've heard that, the first round, it's kind of feel out. I think it's more of everybody getting the nerves out and seeing the other fighters' tendencies for the most part.
I think there's a lot of what you're talking about, too, with the betting. I bet a lot of their fucking promoters and shit are saying, like, right, let the betting close. Like,
yeah, and I've heard that. I don't know how true that is. But
I mean, I just picture in Thailand, everyone smokes cigarettes and they're all throwing cash around, like blood sport and shit. Right. You see the people in the crowds doing that shit.
It was a lot of fun.
Do they really kick banana trees?
Yeah.
To break your shins in?
Yeah, but the banana tree isn't that hard. Yeah, they do kick them, but the banana tree isn't. I mean, it's hard, but it's not. I'm trying to think and describe it as something. It's not. And we used to beat our shins with bamboo and stuff like that. It's pointless.
Yeah.
You know what you should do? Kick a hard, heavy bag and kick pads every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, so you're not. The school of thought that I've heard is that you're conditioning your shins, right? Like getting little micro fractures.
Right.
or whatever. Is that real? Some people do that, or used to back in the day. Like,
here's the thing though. In my shins, I've had the same one. I had staph infection in one, and it'll get like a weird bubbly feeling, and you can run it all on your skin. You just feel almost, like when they listen to your lungs, you got pneumonia or something, that pop sound like fluid. You can feel that, and it's almost like a little infection there, and it'll hurt like hell, make the bone soft.
Yeah,
mine will get that if I get checked too hard. It'll get in the same damn spot every time. It'll take a month to heal. So I really don't hit them with nothing hard. When I was young, I used to do that. Now I just hit the heavy bag and the pads hard. That's it. I try to protect my shins at all costs now, and they're fairly conditioned.
Yeah.
But when you're young, they teach you all that stuff to roll them out and stuff like that.
God, how bad does that hurt?
Yeah, it hurts very
those
bad. I used to use beer bottles, cold beer bottles. I'd roll them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So if you were to walk into the corner of a dresser with your shin, would it kill you as bad as it kills me?
No. I feel the pain and be like, a little hurt. And it's fine. Both my shins are tattooed.
Yeah.
It hurt on the shin, it hurt on the side.
Yeah.
But on the shin doesn't hurt.
How about that cobra throat tattoo? I wanted to ask you about that since you got it.
Yeah.
I've forgotten every time I've seen you. How'd that feel?
So the outline hurt because I did the outline. It was like
straight throat.
After the outline, I used this little spray that took a lot of the
numbing spray.
Yeah, it took a lot of the edge off on the shading. But the worst, this is going to sound stupid, my foot and then this on my wrist was the worst two for me.
My fucking hand.
Hands hurt a little bit.
Sucked.
Yeah, foot was the worst for me. And knees, places was like skin, elbows, knees, rough skin, that hurts real bad.
Yeah, I got lied to. All right. I had some buddies tell me the hand didn't hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, damn, be fucking stud, do the hand. The second the needle hit my hand, I was like, everyone lied to me.
I think it's weird. It's you because everybody tells me the wrist doesn't hurt. Girls like, no, my wrist, like this almost killed me.
Yeah.
Like,
I was ready to walk out. I was like, you've been duped. If he hadn't have already started, I would have been like, fuck this. Bro.
I think it's person to person. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've always been that way too. Like I know a lot of people are like tattoos. They don't hurt, dude. They hurt. All of them hurt.
They all hurt.
But I mean, it's up to you how much you can sit through.
And certain days are different too.
I do think women are tougher than men. I've seen my wife sit and through shit, and she sits like a rock. A lot of women are just dead inside. I think they can just sit and take it.
I mean, I had a fever last week, and I was pretty sure it was like giving birth. I'm 90% sure. It was that bad.
I think everyone
it was a 98.5 something
is getting this sickness shit, whatever it is. I'm hoping that what everyone's getting is this Rona variant, and it's becoming the common cold. That's the way it needs to be.
I think that's
so.
Exactly
I hope that's what it is. Like I know people don't want to hear that word, but everybody should hope that it is the Rona, and it's becoming just an old common cold like it should be.
So last week I couldn't taste for a day or two, and that was kind of weird. And I still ate a whole large pizza. Like my girlfriend, she's like, "Why the hell did you eat that if you can't taste it?" I was like, "Well, I mean, I still was hungry."
Yeah. All right. So I want to cap off. I want to get to the story about when you attempted to take your life, because that's a powerful. I think it helps a lot of people. It's good to talk. Well, actually, two things to talk about. We'll go here first before the attempted suicide. TRT. I talked to a lot of guys about it. I've always been open about it. A lot of people are shameful about it. Think it's a bad thing. There's so many good clinics. Like, don't you think that guys? It shouldn't be as taboo, right? If guys want to do TRT, and it's the same as women, right? Everybody replaces their hormones.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. If it's something like medicinal, you can tell the guys, that are in a gym, they're like huge.
They're taking 1,000 milligrams a week.
Right.
There's a difference.
It's like anything in whether it be, weed for medicinal use, TRT for medicinal use. Like, is it something that's making you a better human being?
Sure.
That's making you healthy? I have no issues with any of that.
Sure.
It's just, as in anything, you're going to have some people that take stuff too far.
Of course.
And that's going to put a taboo or a bad cloud on anything, whether it be, kratom, weed, TRT, any of that stuff.
Well, so you go to which clinic helps you is like your
Low T Nation, Men's Health Atlanta.
But so they also do you can go in and get vitamin drip, IVs, right?
Yeah.
Can't you do? They have a bunch of different therapies.
What I do with them is mainly peptides and stuff,
and
IV stuff. They have a water scan machine if I'm cutting weight. So they've helped me with a lot of different avenues.
Yeah.
Not TRT related stuff that they can really and they help women out with stuff, fat loss and stuff like that too. What I utilize their clinic mostly for is Brandon, he's been a huge help with when I cut the Steve Walker fight or wait for the Steve Walker fight, the water scans.
Yeah.
Just incredible amount of knowledge with that stuff.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't even think that a clinic like that would do.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. And there's actually, this area is good for that. Like there is quite a few different options that people have. Like I know the guys that run All About Health.
Yeah, Mike.
And
yeah,
I got a lot of supplements from them for years, and
they
now
sponsor me as well.
Yeah, and now they've got a TRT clinic.
See, I didn't even know they did TRT over there. And Innovative Health, I think they do TRT. Orlando,
yeah.
He sponsors me as well, doing all my medical stuff, like as far as PRP injections.
Yes.
I mean, that is huge for me.
Yeah, how have you? So has that helped you? You can actually tell a real difference with that.
Yeah, huge difference. Huge difference. As far as my shoulders,
is that where they spin your blood?
Yeah,
and get the shit out and
right. It's like a poor man's stem cell per se. Like
it's a perfect way to put it. Yes, a poor man's stem cell. A non-Joe Rogan stem cell injection.
So I mean, it does help a lot with both my shoulders and my knee.
Yeah,
like, it's not a miracle, but it does help.
So how do you think you're going to feel when you're 50? And two, how many years do you think you got left that you're wanting? Do you have a timeline, or are you going to go till the wheels fall off?
Yeah. No direct timeline. Each fight I take as its own, and as I feel good, I'm just, I'm trying to work to, just do the best I can each fight. If I have the fire, I'm medically okay, I'm going to fight. How I'm going to feel like I'm 50, I don't even want to imagine being fucking 50. So I have no idea.
Yeah, there was a time I didn't know if I'd live to be 50.
Yeah.
So
I have no idea. Probably pretty sore every day.
Yeah. But you'll still be doing something. You can't,
right.
I don't see you being able to be non-active. I mean, you'll hunt till you die.
Coach, that sort of stuff. Be active, I'm sure.
Yeah. You're, what was I going to say? So we're talking about not the TRT.
Suicide stuff.
Yeah, I want to get to that, but one more question. Oh, yes. So your last fight where you won the belt.
Yeah.
I want to let them know. So how did you feel that fight went? Did you ever feel like you were in trouble? And did you feel you were up 4-1 or 3-2? Where did you feel you were?
I felt I was up 4-1. I felt I was in trouble 2 spots. In the first round, he caught my kick and kind of did a little sweep. And when I was on a knee, he hit me when I was on the ground. Just was real aggressive, and it rocked me a little bit. And I bent back and buckled my knee, and it popped a little bit. The meniscus
with the meniscus issues.
And so I grabbed it, and I was a little nervous. I stood up, walked on it. Doctor questioned me. I was fine once I got my weight on it. But he did kind of wobble me a little bit. He could clip me in the jaw on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the third round, I lost my gas a little bit and stood in front of him and got tagged with a couple of those hard right hands. And I came back, and coach was like, "You going to try to give this away? What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Back to work." So then I found my second
your
win.
coach doesn't take your shit. You've told me this.
Yeah.
Like you guys have actually butted heads, but you love that, right? Like he's straight, gives it to you straight.
Right? Yeah, 100%. Gives it to me straight. He's not my friend very often, but he's a damn good coach, and
awesome.
And he's a good mentor when he needs to be. But he really just tells me how the hell it needs to be and what I need to do, and the game plan, and that. I don't need a friend in there. I got enough friends. I got enough dick riders.
Sure,
I got somebody that tells me how it needs to be, and
you can't have that.
Right.
You'll get fucked, and you've been on both sides of this coin, right? And I think what I like about you, this is what I was thinking. I wanted to get to me and John, both the mayor, powerful John Little, that I think this is your most marketable period in your career of all your work since you've been fighting. Your look, your age. How you move compared in the weight class, just the right fit for everything. So if I'm you, and obviously I'm not, and it's your career, but I would be like, all right, this is where I gotta stack some cheese.
Yeah.
And because you did well in bare knuckle, they want you back, right? Obviously, don't they?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm one of their priorities, but with me winning and continuing to win, they wanted to see how I do in that title fight, to be honest, before they negotiated anything. But with me winning that gives me, he was a top 10 WBC ranked fighter internationally, so that gives me a little more clout.
Yep.
I don't fight particularly their style that they love, but I also bring a different dynamic to the table, a different look.
Yeah, but if they would read the comments on their own videos.
I sent that to them.
Yeah,
actually.
If they would read the comments, these are people that don't know you, right? And they were like, this fucking guy moves like a kitten. Yeah. This guy moves like a fucking middleweight. This is incredible. He could be the best thing in the... So, I kind of get what they're saying, but I don't get what they're saying. They've got to see that.
I just don't fit exactly stylistically the mold that when they made bare knuckle they envisioned, which they want fast, bloody fights. Which if it gets that way, it gets that way with me. I'm going to try to finish if it's there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put myself at too much risk without reward.
Unnecessarily, especially.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I'm in there to win a fight and win the fight the best way I know how.
Yeah.
That may not necessarily be like we're standing, in a phone booth beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
If I know I can outmove you and outjab you, I'm going to do that as much as I can until I see an opening and then take it.
So you're open to so there could be more bare knuckle in your future.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I want to. And if my fight career ended today, the only thing I didn't do yet would be make house buying money. You know, that like what you're saying, cashing in. I could live with that.
Yeah. No, you won your belt.
I won a major belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I did it with facing adversity, and I came back and did it later in my career. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
But for sure, I want to keep fighting if they'll have me, if I can line it up and make it make sense monetarily, because I got 2 jobs right now.
Yeah.
I'm divorced. I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I'm doing it on my own. So I have priorities as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
But I just got a feeling, man. I got this weird little tingle, sons. I think that there's going to be something huge in bare knuckle at some point for you, where I think you could go in, dude. I don't know if anybody. They'd have to walk through hell to beat you.
Yeah, Alan Belcher is the only guy
I do love some Alan Belcher
pretty well. I utmost respect for him. He's doing real well. He's fighting for the title next, fighting Arnold Adams. Adams is a hard hitter. I think Belcher has the most skill set as if we're talking the other Art and Allen, the other heavyweights I've seen are probably the 2 with the most skill set.
Dude, you want to talk about a transformation of body and kind of spirit is his return too.
Yeah.
Because he was dealt with, had his, like everybody had his problems. He is freaking jacked and mean, sons.
Looks good.
He does look good. All right, so got all that. So that would be one hell of a card. If that somehow you two cross paths, I'd pay whatever it takes.
I've been trying to somehow link my name in there with that, but I can only do it so much without being disrespectful to him, because I don't want to be.
Yeah.
And he has earned his time and right to the title. Let him do that, and then hopefully I can work my way in the mix.
Would you get in there and smoke old Ben Rothwell if you had to?
Yeah. Oh, I'd fight Ben right now. I'd fight Greg Hardy right now.
Oh, you'd smoke Hardy.
Yeah.
God, Brooke would love to see you fight Hardy.
Yeah. I like fighting woman beaters.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's got such a I think you'd tear his ass up.
All those guys stand a good chance if I get in scrums with them, brawls with them. But the more the fight goes and the more I move, I can outbox all of them.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to take them in deep waters, and they're not going to like that shit. Right. Not even a little bit. Dude, those fucking 3 fucking banger fights. Bare Knuckle's got to figure that out somehow. Is Ben going to Bare Knuckle, Rothwell?
Yes. Ben is. Greg Hardy is. Shit.
Dude, that's crazy.
I mean, they've got some good, solid heavyweights. A guy in Thailand, they got Steve Banks is real good and real good Thai fighter. And he's dipped into bare knuckle and done pretty well with them. He's fought on BKFC Thailand a time or 2 and done decent. So
you trained over in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
Can you say? So are the lady boys a real thing?
They are. And the hotter the girl looks, it's actually a dude.
God, dog.
Just
I've seen it in the movies, but
that's how it is. They're in like bright yellow colored dresses or something. You're like, wow, look at that girl. It's like, that's not a girl.
That girl's got a dick.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Now we're going to get to the story. So you've had your career. There was a point where, life was hard for you, and you actually tried to take your own life. So I'm going to let you take it from there and kind of walk people through. How did you come out of that, and what was the whole mindset there?
So a lot of it led into it, but I was going down the wrong path wrong path financially, the wrong path in my marriage. I was being kind of a shitbag, running around on my wife. I was also trying to fight at this time, but not in. It was the one where I was talking about I was walking forward and got clipped, winning the whole fight. Then my whole world crumbled. So I'm living out of my fucking car. I got lost my contract. I'm having troubles in my marriage. I'm, told, she's telling me you're not going to see the kids anymore.
Sure.
Because she's hurt.
Yeah, of course.
And I just gave up, I was like, fuck, I have nothing. Like, I'm literally living in my car. Went downstairs, tried to hang myself with a dog leash. and I guess succeeded because everything was black and dark for I don't know how long, but she cut me down with a steak knife, and I could hear her talking to me, yelling at me like, "You dumbass," whatever. And I couldn't speak, it was slurring everything. I said, it's like what I'd imagine a stroke being like, as I was like, just slurring, and I couldn't move, but I could hear her. Mm-hmm. Finally, I could see. Then I could crawl, but it was like Bambi waking up. Crawled upstairs, got in a cold bath, and then I just had this. Have you seen the picture? That huge bruise?
Oh yeah, God, yes, I've seen it.
Where I was just hanging
Powerful
from that rope.
Picture.
And then I decided that day, I was like, she told me, she's like, that day she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore, but I'm going to help you get through this. And we made it 5 more years after that. We were trying to be together, and it just wasn't working. Sure. And she's a great woman, a great mother. Of
course.
I'd die for her today.
Yep.
But it was the right thing for us to move on. And she just helped me through. That was a hard time in my life. You know? And I slowly just got back on track I started making knives. Then I was like, I can fight again. Yeah. Now I'm fighting. Now I can, I can support myself. I can work these jobs even if I'm not fighting. Sure. I can make it in life.
You ever miss making knives? Because I do. I miss making them. So we were both making knives at the same time too, which is hilarious.
Yeah. And it's just time consuming.
God, but it's such a fun art, man. Like there's a lot to it, and you can literally be garbage at and start with. You could do it with charcoal and a hole in your backyard.
That's how my first one was, a blower, charcoal.
I used a blow dryer, hair dryer, blowing the charcoal. That's
my first one started that way, and I just kept going and kept going. But I'm probably get back into it even once I retire. It's just so time consuming.
Yeah, it really
retire from fighting, not retire from work. But.
And having the space, I would like to have a nice forge.
Yeah.
I got hooked on fucking Forge and Fire.
Yeah, it was good.
My whole family, my son, got him hooked on it when I was balls deep into making the knives and shit. I want to make a sword one day. Yep. But all right, so you come out of that now, so now with your life, how it is, you talked about you've won your major championship now. So if fighting goes away, you feel like you're capable of...
I still have these thoughts. And do I know? I don't know. Some days I'm confident.
Sure.
Some days I'm like, what will I do? If I'm honest with you. But I think, doesn't everybody, if they're honest with themselves, have dark thoughts? Everybody has weak thoughts. Sure. There's days I'll sit in a dark room and fucking cry. Yeah. And then there's other days the next day I'm like, that wasn't that bad. Why the fuck was I upset about that? Sure. And that, it's just truth. So I'm working each day to get a little better, get a little stronger. Am I past it all the way? No. But I'm in a much better place, better baseline, 100% so. I'm wiser, I'm more knowledgeable, and I'm just I know I can sit there and tell myself, Warren, the sun's going to shine tomorrow. Tonight or whatever you're dealing with today isn't the end of the world like you think it is right this second.
Yeah, and so do they have anything slated for when you might be defending your belt? How far out that is, or?
Don't know. Before I left, they talked maybe in the fall or in the winter doing something, but nothing lined up. They did say they wanted to maybe take me over to England to fight, maybe for a world title over there, heavyweight world title, or just a fight. So that'd be fun. Striking's a bigger deal. Muay Thai, kickboxing a bigger deal in Europe than it is here.
Yeah. I've always wondered what the reason that
I have no idea.
It hasn't picked up as big as far as American audiences. Because I'm a big Joe Schilling fan. I'm sure you know who Joe Schilling is, right? Dude's a savage murderer. And I've just always loved watching him. I don't care if he's what kind of fighting he does. Right. He's just
exciting fighter to watch.
Yeah, he's just tough as shit, dude. He's fucking fantastic.
Smoke cigarettes way in.
That's the crazy part, dude. Yeah. Smoking the damn cigarettes and training. Yeah. And I know I couldn't do half. That's just some people are genetic freaks. I don't know how they...
He can fight his ass off, though. He can fight his ass off.
He can kick.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, you're so now you're divorced. You got a girlfriend. You got a smoke show.
Yeah.
See you out there with that, dude. Life has to be good, dude. What the fuck other than like you said, this life changing payday? You've kind of checked all the fucking boxes, bro.
Yeah, and I mean anybody can look on the outside and be like, "Hey, it's going well," but honestly, for me. Even on the days like I'm facing the adversity, it's going pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I'm waking up each day healthy and a chance. That's all I ask for.
Most 99% of people could not just because when you decided to come out of retirement 4 years ago?
Yeah.
It was almost like I'll give it a go.
Right.
I'm gonna fire one more.
Yep.
I remember reading the post. It was almost like I'm gonna do one more for shits and giggles.
See what happens.
Yeah. If I've got ALS, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm good. We're gonna do one more.
We're gonna do it.
And now, dude, you done worked your way back. You got a belt. You got bare knuckle out there in the future. Shit, dude.
We'll see where it goes. Hopefully it goes. But like I said, if it doesn't, I'm content. Accomplishing what I accomplished. I'm still hungry. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But I've learned to count my blessings. If that, take a breath and check out your surroundings and be thankful.
All right. Well, the last thing I want to cover, I told the mayor that I would discuss this with you, and we'll be putting this show will go out on our iTunes big podcast account for people to listen to that aren't catching the live. So it is going to go out on the podcast. But I want to get you and Joe in here with probably me and the mayor, and just do like a fight talk and let people chime in and ask questions and pick you guys' brains. I know Joe's cool with it. He said he'd love to come on with you. So you'd be down to do that? We need to do that one night, one weekend where we actually have a time. I know your schedule's weird. You work nights, right?
Yeah, so I work at the gym in the evenings coaching and then do some security Fridays, Saturdays. But it's not every, I can work some stuff.
Yeah. Cool, man. All right, well, let's do it. Yeah, do you want to, what's your socials, anything where people can hit you up, find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is War the Destroyer. After War, you do the little underline shit and then underline Destroyer. So follow me on there. Shoot me a follow on Instagram.
Awesome. All right, guys, we will holler at y'all later. Pull this up, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Appreciate it.
Boom. All right, brother. We are out.